Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again. Feels like we just had this conversation. Boy, it's been an exhausting trading week trying to be patient and then getting all excited when everything lines up.
I know it's just craziness, but at least a few things really worked out well today. IBD was probably my best trade of the day.
Let's take a look at that. We'll get started there. Oh, yeah, you've been calling that one out.
I know all day long I kept telling everybody, and I was like, watch at 107 now, watch it. I mean 307, 310. It got all the way up to 315.
Multiple entries in a lot of stocks we normally watch today. I think the roller coaster that we're having right now is the first 45 minutes of the day today were really good. And then we went into like a half hour coma where nothing was even printing. It was really weird.
Yeah, it really was. I remember we saying that yesterday too. We were like, is this market even going?
And that's what we end up with. I mean, right in this, like, actually, the market's probably not a really good example of that because there were so many individual stocks that we were watching this morning
Right.
that were trading much better than the market. The market actually was Doji City here, above and below. But at this point here at noon, if I'm not mistaken, the VIX actually um, made a move where it made one attempt to get over the opening price. And for the most part, the morning, this was one of the reasons I think we were so confident with not. We actually made the comment, if you're still long and have a head start on your trade, don't bail on the trade just because it's not moving fast enough in your favor. There's no reason to sell yet.
Right. I remember you pointing that out.
And we made one
Mhm.
attempt to finally get over. But I think the point that I want to make to everybody who's watching the video is the VIX was under the opening price that entire time. And that was pretty much why I was saying that. They, obviously watching the trend and the ticks as well. But the VIX, it never gave you a reason to feel like, you know what, I should be getting out of it. It made one lame attempt here, but very quickly, within a 10-minute period, that was it. And then it was off to the races for the rest of the market, and it caught up with some of the larger cap stocks. And I was so happy today to see. I know a few people in the room are uh, consistently trading Amazon and Google, and finally today they held the bid, got through the levels that we were looking for, and both of them, Google L specifically, finally. As a matter of fact, I think we had 695 as the targeting in Google L, and we got within $1 of that, which is okay, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think it's great.
you know, I was very
Uh,
happy. I hope Paula was still carrying her Amazon. I know she's been in and out of that thing for the last couple of months, being frustrated with that 539. But
yeah, I'm not sure she was in that. I know she was in the Google L though.
okay, good, 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 good. Joan's been calling out some phenomenal ideas lately.
Yeah, yeah, she really has.
Not only good setups, but they're following through well. So whatever she's doing in her game planning is it's spot on because she's getting stocks that are following through, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
So actually, here's the today's vision of today. And actually, I made a mistake. I didn't change the red to green today. I try and change that every day.
Ah,
So I messed up. Fire me.
we'll forgive you.
Somebody take my job, please.
Yeah.
But obviously, the big story today is the financials coming off of yesterday's disappointment from JP Morgan. Um, Goldman actually opening lower pre-market, and then we'll jump into that stock to show the turnaround. But this was the chart of the market coming into today, and I guess, is neutral the right word heading into today?
No, you know what? I'm not sure it was neutral or just not, there was no clarity in it. So, or maybe
Actually, you
there
know
was
what?
neutral.
That's a much better way of describing it. Much better
Okay.
way.
I,
Uh,
I I was just right there with you. I did not, it was hard to find a bias to the market today because I could make equally weighted um, arguments for a positive and for a negative trend day.
The only thing that we were leaning on this morning to say that there was a possibility we were going higher was the fact that we had this momentum move higher, got above the 200 level, and basically 4 days without really that much negative volume, even though we did have selling. And it kind of felt like that was even pushing it.
Right, because the volume was so low. And you even mentioned that you had said that this is more like a flag rather than a downturn.
Yep, yep, exactly. So here was the map of the S&P 500 coming into today again. Basic materials still hanging in there. Apple again, flip flopping again. Negative day yesterday, positive day today. Facebook finally uh, brought you flowers today, Mary, right?
Yeah, it's up at
Finally.
96 right now. And not only do I have my long-term shares, I now own a few more hundred shares of it in my short-term portfolio. But I
Nice,
just bought a
nice.
tiny bit.
Finally got above those levels, and we'll point those out in the chart.
Yeah.
So again, I have the SPY price action, not easy to read right now. Basically, what I meant by that was it's not that it's that difficult to look at a chart and see where it is. It's it's with the intention of what do we expect to have happen today.
Right.
So just put some context on that. Again, on the chart showing a nice flag, and that's what we just pointed out with a momentum move higher. When I wrote I'm neutral on the SPY today, that was actually because of what I wrote in my notes down here. Earnings reports on both sides of the scale not helping to clear up the bias. That's why I kind of felt neutral here, but keep an eye on this momentum move that's hovering above the 50. 50 period moving average on the daily, and this is what we ended up getting today. Obviously, Walmart still have a little bit of echo, I guess, from yesterday. So echo, Walmart, and Target, a little bit weak today relative to yesterday. I guess anything is relative to yesterday, right?
Right, exactly.
But financials lit the board up today, and some of these other high beta large cap stocks joined the party today. So I guess we can get into some stocks, and here's what we ended up getting today. Again, something I think we should point out as well, Marion, is we made a big deal in the first 2 hours of the day today to say you absolutely must be able to recognize the difference between when the market's on your side and it's obvious versus you're just going back and forth and trying to make a living, because when it's a tougher tape or light volume, you should be booking profits and not looking to be that aggressive, and certainly not looking to add to positions. But when things become obvious, you should make more, and nothing will eat away at you more when you get this dropped in your lap. And again, dropped in your lap is obviously a little sarcastic. But when this happens, and again, I felt like I was beating it into the ground, both pre-market as well as during the market open. But if you get this, you can't make $1,000 when there's 2,000 or 2,500 on the table, and you have to be able to recognize the difference between this. And it's a big deal because you can't not make what you're supposed to. You have to, once you get past, I understand probabilities and I take every trade, then you don't care about small losses anymore. This will eat away at you and keep you up at night if you know what you're doing and you don't earn more. And it was available this afternoon.
True.
So some trades on the bullish side, kind of neutral as far as long and shorts setting up. We had NVIDIA as a 20-day breakout, which has been one of the better trades on the board lately. Intel obviously has been very strong. So you could get a theme in here that there's a lot of technology stocks that are either at or near breakout levels. Nike, again, nice 52-week high again today, if I'm not mistaken. We can take a look at that chart. I wrote as my stock of the day today, First Solar. We'll actually take a look at that and see why. So I guess we'll go to some of the charts now. We discussed Amazon and Google. Here's the chart of FSLR. And let me zoom out a little bit here. And this is actually what I was looking at when I did my levels today. Pretty nice bounce off the low. Not ready to call it a blatant long yet, but roughly $2.50 to the next resistance. But this is really what's got me perked up here. If we can make this run, now that we're clearly above 20 now is finally broken, maybe get up to here, flag, and then look for a 55 to almost 64 target. So keep an eye on that one today as well. NVIDIA, you've been calling out for a few days now, and I think nothing more than profit taking today. I think that if I was long and I had a lot of shares to sell, today would be the day I was doing it with how strong the market was. It wouldn't have been that hard to find sellers today.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there.
So actually, I'm sorry. People define buyers.
Right,
I said that incorrectly.
But,
so I guess we'll get into Facebook. We have had the level that we've been waiting for it to get above for a while, and you can see it's clearly this spot here, and anything up into that level wasn't really the greatest opportunity because it kept getting shoved back. And here's the line here. We finally stayed above it for most of the day, which was between 95.25 and 95.50, depending on exactly where you drew it. And now, look, we discussed this morning as well. You can make a case that there's some resistance to the level, to the left. But I think once it's cleared this level, if it stays there, I think it's just a question of making a run at 100. I don't think we're going to dilly-dally around these other minor resistance points. What do you think?
Right. I agree with you.
When this stock trades well, it can do this pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
$10 is not that big of a deal in this stock when it's in play. I guess we'll jump over to the financials. Citigroup actually opened higher, kind of traded neutral, probably for the first 90 minutes of the day, but then was in a really solid uptrend. But the big daddy there, the one that's many people feel is the leader of that sector, and with good reason. Boy, what a day!
Yeah, it really
What
was.
a day! $9, just about.
Yep.
Not much to be bearish about today. And as a matter of fact, no reason to be bearish today. We were looking at a few this morning, FEYE on the short side, and you could see why broke down here in the first part of the day. The market was still dancing around, and we actually were calling this short sale entry and Yum as well. Again, keeping it all in perspective, the market's weak up to this point. Stocks are weak on the daily chart, so really good short sale calls. Just the market got too strong. You take your loss and, put on your big trader pants and say it's part of the business, right?
Right, exactly.
Don't complain. Didn't, big deal. Rally. You should have been long anyway, right? At that point, anyway. Over here earlier in the day.
Because it's up 4.5% after the market closed.
It was just under 71. Actually, might as well talk about Wynn, right?
Yep.
Earnings after the market and trading around 70. So actually down just about $3.75. It's going to be interesting to see if earnings are going to invalidate all of this or take it back.
Yeah.
Twitter has been on the board. Look, we know Twitter at 30 and 36 are the big numbers. And we know 36 because that's where we're looking on the way down. This area here, when it finally pushed, it went through pretty hard. I guess you could say we're basing right now. I don't really know any other way to word it. It's not really in play enough every day to be involved. Look at all the dojis. But Apple, again, you can see there. Let me zoom it out a little bit. Pretty much every other day, got red, green, red, green, red, green. So it's going to be interesting to see if tomorrow we get follow through and we approach that 116, because after this it's 116 and then 120. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't get more follow through on that upgrade.
Me too. So I guess we'll touch on a couple other ones that are widely followed. Netflix did not bounce at all today, which is a really bearish sign that it didn't join the market today. And our buddy Tesla actually did finally join the market. But I will say this. It did join the market, did have an update today, but that is a beautiful bear flag.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I agree.
Call it whatever you want based on how well it traded today. If push comes to shove and the market has a down day, that's still a bear flag, and be looking for that to make a run towards 200. Anything surprise you today?
The Netflix did not move. I thought, and I was not picking a direction. I wanted to see what it would do, and it really did not move.
I guess we could just give everybody a heads up on that as well, too, Marion. If the market, and let's say like right around here's around noon, if the market's exploding and the financials are on the same page and energy, everything's on the same page, and this stock is still below the opening price, don't bother with it. Right. You just put it perfectly, waiting and seeing, and just to give everybody a reference point, if that's happening and everything's up here, meaning above the opening price, don't bother with any stock at all. Obviously, we use Netflix as an example, but don't bother with anything that's down here when everything that's doing what it's supposed to do with the markets up here. And obviously, the same thing on the other side. But I wasted so much time early in my career, and I don't know if you've done the same thing, where you're like, well, if it hasn't moved yet, and everything else has already moved, I'm going to get a bigger move because it hasn't moved yet.
Right. It's bound to move.
Right. Exactly. So you end up buying a stock that doesn't go anywhere instead of participating with stocks that are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. So that's a pretty cool lesson right there, just nothing more than paying attention to the opening price. So I think tomorrow you have to expect follow through, barring something out of the blue with earnings or tomorrow morning.
I definitely agree with you.
So we know the levels in the SPY. We've been stalking them for a while now. 205 to end the week would be really beautiful. $2.50 would not be out of the question. $2.90 is the average true range in the SPY. And just to give everybody an idea, that's where we got this level from. So it's not really drawn out of nowhere. That's the last place that buyers did something different. Held that support before we smashed. So we're basically looking at that. And then back up to the 212 level, or whatever number you want to draw up there, somewhere between 212 and 210 and 212. So it's really going to be interesting to see how we finish the week. One thing I will say that we said over and over again in the pre-market meeting is we're in day trading mode because there's really not a bias from a big picture sector and then individual stock en masse. I mean, you could definitely find a couple of pockets of opportunity, but if we trade higher tomorrow and hold the open, let's say we open a little bit higher tomorrow, pull back, hold the high from today as support, then we can get a little bit more out of day trading mode and feel that we have a little bit more time frame continuity to be a little more aggressive. So it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds tomorrow. That's how I'm going to be looking at it unless something changes. So
Yep.
be looking forward to get a little slightly higher open tomorrow. And that's all she wrote. Thank you, Marion. Have an awesome day, and everybody else have a great night too. Go Mets. Go Mets tonight.
See you in the morning.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.